The moment the lawyer finished reading the will, my brother burst out laughing. It echoed through the entire room. He looked at me and said, "See, Dad always knew who the winner was." I had just been handed a rusted, dirty toolbox while he walked away with the mansion and the bank accounts. I felt like the biggest idiot on earth. But what my brother, and even the lawyer, didn't know was that the rust was hiding a secret that would flip our lives upside down in the next 24 hours. Let me give you some context. For the last 5 years, my life has been the smell of antiseptic and sleepless nights in a hospital chair. While our father fought cancer, I was the one there. I held his hand when he cried in pain. I cleaned the house. I did everything. My brother Lucas showed up for Christmas. Maybe he was always the businessman, the family's pride and joy, always too busy to visit the old man. But my dad had this sparkle in his eyes whenever he talked about Lucas. It was like his success made up for his absence. And me? I was just the son who was there. At the funeral, Lucas didn't even cry. He was on his phone, probably closing some deal. I was shattered, but I had hope. I thought, Dad saw my effort. He's going to be fair. How naive I was. The reading of the will was 3 days later. The office was freezing. The lawyer, Mr. Davis, wouldn't even look me in the eye. He started reading. To my son Lucas, I leave the lake house, the downtown apartment, and all my liquid assets totaling $2 million. My heart stopped, not because of the money, but the message. Lucas smirked, that arrogant smile of someone who always wins. Then the lawyer cleared his throat and said, "And to my son, Andrew, I leave my old red toolbox that sits in the garage, because he always liked fixing things." I felt my face burn. It wasn't anger, it was shame. Deep shame. Lucas laughed out loud. "A toolbox, Andrew? Seriously? Well, at least you can use it to fix the sink in my new house when I hire you." He grabbed the keys to the mansion, signed the papers, and walked out without looking back. I stood there, holding that heavy, grease-stained box, feeling like the last 5 years of my life had been a joke. I got to my tiny apartment and slammed the box on the table. I wanted to throw it in the trash, but out of habit, I opened it. Screwdrivers, nails, an old hammer, nothing. I started crying out of pure rage. I grabbed the hammer to throw it against the wall, but the handle felt hollow. The weight was off. I looked closely at the bottom of the box. The metal floor seemed higher than it should be. I grabbed a screwdriver and pried at the false bottom. Clack! It popped open. Inside, there was no cash. There was a yellowed envelope and an old leather journal. I opened the envelope first. It was a letter from my dad, written in his shaky handwriting weeks before he passed. Son, if you are reading this, it means you didn't abandon me. I knew Lucas would only come for the money. Money corrupts, son, and the money I left him is actually the debt he created himself. I stopped reading, confused. I kept going. Lucas has been embezzling money from the family company for years. I left him the company, yes, but I also left the forensic audits that proved the embezzlement. He's going to spend the next few years paying back creditors and dealing with the IRS as soon as the inheritance is official. For you, Andrew, I leave what I actually built. Inside this journal is the private key to a crypto wallet I bought back in 2013 and never touched. And more importantly, the deed to the land where you live, which was in your mother's name, was never mine to give away. But the safety deposit box key, code on the back, holds the original title. That week I found out my brother's inheritance was frozen by the courts due to the fraud my dad's audit automatically revealed upon his death. Lucas was left with the debts and the shame. As for me, that crypto wallet was worth more than all the properties combined. But the most valuable thing wasn't the money. It was reading the last line of my dad's letter. I gave him what he loved, status. And I left you what I loved, the future. Thank you for being with me. Sometimes when it feels like the world is unfair and you've only been handed rust, remember, the real value of things isn't always on the surface. Have you ever felt treated unfairly by your own family? Comment justice down below if you believe that what goes around comes around. Don't forget to like and subscribe because the next story is going to give you chills.